I'd like to invite you to pray with me this morning. I'm using one of our plant relatives that was given to us to pray with, Sage. And this morning, we'll ask Sage to bring our prayers together from across this country, and to take them to the Creator, Mamu Tawimau, or whatever name that we've associated with that greater power that has provided us with all of creation. Mamu Tawimau. As the day begins with the rising sun, we ask Spirit of the East, Kiheo, or the eagle, to be with us. Fly high as you carry our prayers to the Creator. May we have eyes as sharp as yours, so we are able to see truth and hope on the path we have chosen. Guide our step and give us courage to walk the circle of our lives with honesty and dignity. I'm going to take some words from the people from Washington State who gathered together with the Jesuits to record their thoughts, their spiritual thoughts. And, and they shared with us some thoughts about coming together. We start with Matthew, where 2 or 3 meet in my name, I shall be there with them. And the indigenous people say, it is good for us to gather together, to support each other, encourage each other, especially when one of us is down and doesn't want to continue. There is immense strength when the whole people gather in prayer for healing. The Spirit is often poured out upon the whole gathering, and no one goes home the same person. It is good to lay our hands gently on someone hurting and humbly ask Jesus to help them. And we have this hope that whenever we pray together in this life, those who have gone ahead, our ancestors, pray with us. Mother Earth, we thank our God for the gifts that He has bestowed on us through you. We thank you for your beauty and for all you have given us. Remind us always never to take from you more than we need, and remind us to always give back more than we take. We ask your blessings today. We ask blessings of wisdom and love and a sense of justice as we go through this day of conferencing. We ask especially for blessings on those people who are suffering from COVID. We ask you to help us to understand what that means and how to walk with it and how to live with it and how to help each other. Mamu Tawimau, we give you thanks for this gathering, for these people who are here together. And we ask you always to be their help and to support them. The Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless you in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace to love each other and to celebrate the diversity that we are here in this country and to cherish each other for that diversity. We ask this always of you through Christ our Lord. Amen. Have a good day. Enjoy your weather wherever you are. We'll certainly enjoy our minus 20 odd degrees here in Saskatchewan.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Harry.
Okay,
Blessings on your day.
you too.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining back in again today. I'm excited to introduce our first speaker of Saturday morning. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Miss Ava MacLean. Ava is a Catholic school teacher in Saskatoon. She is a St. Thomas More College Campus Ministry Award winner, and STM also recognized her with an Aboriginal Achievement Award. She is a Métis woman who is connected to her community and has sung the Métis National Anthem at a number of gatherings. After graduating from SUNTEP in 2018, she went on to teaching positions at St. Gabriel's School in Biggar, Saskatchewan, St. Michael Community School, and this year, Holy Family Elementary School, where she's teaching a grade 6-7 split class, and in COVID, it's a handful. Ava served on the Newman exec here at St. Thomas More for 5 years while in the Edwards School of Business, then transferring into the College of Education. In that time, she attended CCSA regional and national gatherings in Edmonton and Charlottetown. At the CCSA National Conference in PEI, she was elected to the position of Western CCSA rep, and then went on to hold the position of president of the CCSA exec. Ava represented Canada at meetings of the International Movement of Catholic Students, IMCS, in Italy and Mexico City as a student. So with all of that, please help me welcome Ava, and I'll ask you to unmute yourself. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Yes, good morning. Bon matin, Tanche. Merci, Harry, for that wonderful prayer. And Kinanasko matin awa. Thank you to all of you for having me here this morning. I am so excited. I'm all jittery excited. So thank you for having me. Yes, so as Molly said, what a wonderful introduction. It was nice to hear such things, and I was blown away. And now I'm sort of like, oh, what am I talking about? That was the first part, I think. So yeah, that's right. So I am a Catholic school teacher. I teach grade 6-7, so that's 11 and 12-year-olds, that means that I have a little bit of experience talking to groups of people. But what I realized is a little bit different is in this situation, I can't tell if I'm boring you. I can't tell if you're laughing at my jokes. I can't tell because you're all muted. And I appreciate that you're muted, for the bandwidth and all that. But it'll be interesting where we don't have that back and forth. So hopefully this goes all right. And I'll think of it like more like a podcast or something. So I'll just keep making jokes and hoping that you're enjoying them on that side without me really knowing. And you can tell me at the end. It'll be a surprise. So yes, as Molly said, so I started in my first year in the Newman Center, being one of the council members, and it was just a really good introduction into being in a Catholic community on campus. Yesterday we heard from Father Raymond yesterday, and talking about Newman. And so that really spoke to me as formerly working with the Newman Center. And I want to continue the themes he was talking about, cor ad cor, loquitur, heart speaks to heart, and looking at how that is a huge part of life as a student, and now afterwards as a teacher. And I believe that thinking about vocation fits with that motto as well. So that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Here we go. All right. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're with me still on the screen? Okay, perfect. Wonderful. All right. That works, I guess, for a little bit of back and forth. I'll take it. So this was our Newman exec on the very first year when I was 18 years old, just being brand new on campus. And this was our Newman Center. This was our Newman Council. And it was wonderful. It was just a wonderful first experience being on campus because I was working with all of these students who were in their mid-20s, and they were smart and they knew what was going on. And I really appreciated that as a first year, getting to learn and work with these people. And I could just sort of listen and help. Oh, they need help cleaning up. Sure, I'll help clean up. And I really appreciated that. It was a great way to dip my toes into student leadership. Now, unfortunately, right after that, after my first year, everyone graduated, and it was just me. So everyone left our Newman Council, and I was left to try to keep some consistency in there. So in my second year of university, we started off by just trying to have events where we were showing that hospitality of Newman. And we really wanted to look at recruitment. Now, sometimes that might sound a little bit like Army. Oh, we're trying to recruit all the people. But what it really meant was just really opening up your arms as wide as you can to just really show that warmth and hospitality of the Newman Center, to just really show people what is the center, what is the Newman Council all about. So what was able to happen was we were able to recruit 2 members, and this was Sarah and Andrew, and I think actually Sarah might be with us on the call here. So hello, Sarah. And this was a picture of us. Each year we do a peanut butter drive because the high schools can't do that because they can't collect peanuts in a peanut-free school. So we do that as a Newman Center for the Friendship Inn, a food donation center. And we were able to grow a little bit more. And how this happened was really through that sharing and listening freely, making sure that, when Sarah and Andrea came in as first year students, that they knew, you get to put in as much as you want, and you'll get out whatever you put in. And we're just here to create community. And if you want to be part of that, come be a part of that. And so thankfully they did want to be. And then even the year after that, our group grew a little bit more. And it was not so lonely just being me and, well, my dad, who was the campus minister rep for the Newman Center. So it seemed less like me and my dad just hanging out and actually working with more students, a little bit more diverse group. And that was really wonderful. However, the gentleman standing next to me in this picture is actually my cousin, William, and Adam, Icor's older brother. So it was kept in the family a little bit. And then we also have Ali and Andrew and Sarah in that picture as well. And so we just really continued with that theme of growing community based on that hospitality and that warmth. As actually Ronnie said yesterday, Newman just about sort of what does the community want? Are they stressed out? Well, let's have an event that's, stress-free and that kind of thing. So then this actually is a picture of the CCSA National Conference that I attended in Charlottetown, PEI. And this, I hope this picture captures a little bit of the wild, zany, fun energy that happens when you get all students together who have a love for just the Catholic faith and working as a community and working together and having fun and really feeling that the spirit of the Creator just sort of set their hearts on fire with and bring them together. So I really did enjoy it, and it was just a wonderful time where we only spent about 4 days together, but then there's people I haven't seen since this, and I still feel a closeness with them, partially through social media, but also because we were able to open up with each other and share about our local experiences, and be able to talk to each other about the struggles of student leadership, and really have that vulnerability and that openness, and the heart speaks to heart, being able to just be really present to each other through listening and through sharing freely. This was the weekend that I was elected to Western representative, and that was actually quite a shock to me at the time. There were people I just met 24 hours before who were like, "You should be in this position," and I was so humbled by their support and their love that they showed me, and that their confidence in, like, this is where you should be at. And I just really felt God speaking to me through these conference attenders, through these new friends. And it was really beautiful. And I am so glad that I took that position. So this was in the fall, and then this was in the following February. We got to have an in-person meeting. So this was the CCSA executive that was elected. Unfortunately, one of the Eastern reps couldn't make it because her flight was delayed, and it was just I was so sad that we couldn't all gather, but it was really wonderful. So that was in Montreal at the Notre Dame Cathedral. We snuck a picture before they told us to, get out after church. And we really enjoyed that. That weekend, we also were really asked to listen to the Spirit and have some discernment. Sister Sue was there with us as well, so Sister Sue can speak to that fun stuff that we had, and how we stayed at the nun's house, and they had some rules about those boys staying at the nun's house. They weren't sure about that, but it worked out in the end. And actually, that was the weekend where I heard my favorite, I found it was my favorite verse from Judges, which is, "Go with the strength that is in you." And that just really spoke to me as you already have everything in you that you need to go forward. So don't feel like you can't do this, because God's already there with you, and God's already given you everything. So you don't even need to ask, because you already have it. God's already given you those gifts. So, following that, actually, this is a picture of the IMCS International gathering in Italy, in Foligno. And so I was able to go there in August 2017. In this picture, it's one of our many group pictures. When you get together with students in person, they always want a group picture, and there's many of them. And so this is one of the pictures that shows most of the people. Unfortunately, when we gathered for 2 weeks, so when you have a 2-week gathering like that, oftentimes, people miss the end, people miss the beginning, and so this was one of the pictures we tried to get everyone in it. And this conference was incredible. I went to one place, to Italy, and I was able to meet people from Peru, Taiwan, India, Romania, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, South Africa, Italy, just all in Egypt, all these wonderful, these people just coming to represent. And it was a similar feeling as that CCSA National Conference, where we all came from different backgrounds and had different local realities. And we also got to share about what does that look like. Now, at the IMCS, I was sort of taken aback, because there's a lot more diversity also in age. So at CCSA, you might see like, oh, everyone's in like, a couple of 5 years. Well, I was, I can't remember exactly how old I was, early 20s. There's also people in their 30s, in their late 20s, and there was so diversity in that. So I felt very young going into this, where the president, Edouard from Togo, he was doing his PhD in sociology and was 30 years old. And I was like, oh, wow, that's a lot different than me being, in third year education and that kind of thing. But it was just a wonderful experience. We got to do some touring around Italy. This actually type of picture, Michelle there on the left side is from Zambia, and she told us that when you do a jumping picture, it's actually called a Zambitious picture. So we want to take lots of Zambitious pictures everywhere. anyway, and so we got to really just grow together and just have fun together. And having that work propel our bonds that we were making, talking about what do things look like for us as Catholic students, and what do we want them to look like? What do we want our effect to be when we leave this place? And I want us to be thinking about that also with this conference, is we're doing a lot of thinking here, and what does that look like when we carry it back home? So it's just also really incredible the types of bonds we were able to make, and a closeness. I haven't seen these women since, but I feel such a closeness with them. And you know, Margot in the middle, she's married now, and Angel there, she's a filmmaker, and Tina's still a student. But it's just incredible to see that we all were here. And the same with the CCSA, that we were here, and now we are everywhere in the world and having diverse positions. And I'm thinking back to the people I met in Charlottetown, and they're married now, and they're journalists, and they're teachers, and they're doing mission work all over the world, and all of these things. Where it's just incredible that we all were here for a moment, and now we're just seeing Christ's body on earth. What the action is, and how we're all working together and also working apart, but on the same kind of goals. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought for a second. Anyway, like I was saying before with the social media, you know, I get to still see what they're posting and that kind of thing. And that does provide a little bit of closeness when we're so far apart, especially in a time like this with COVID, where we can't travel. And I am really looking forward to hearing from you about the connections that you're making this weekend. And I'm looking forward for you about when you finally do get to have those connections in person next year, whether it's a regional or national conference. It's just a wonderful time to be able to grow in a community, and also have an exposure to that community. Before I had gone to the CCSA National Conference, I didn't really know what Catholic student community looked like at that kind of scale. And it was just amazing to see how we had similarities, but also differences, and how we could bond over the similarities and discuss the differences, and grow together. Again, in that openness, and with a focus on listening and sharing freely, and having that connection built, because it is that heart speaks to heart. So then my next experience with the IMCS, I got to go to Mexico City. And it was very fun also, because it in Mexico was July 2018. So it was a full year after I had seen some of these familiar faces, and it was so nice to be reunited. And I also was able to start being a little bit more involved with the IMCS. The IMCS has 3 main languages, so it's English, Spanish, and French, and everything needs to be translated into every language. And I was actually the only English as my first language speaker. Everyone else there speaks multiple languages. So me being only an English speaker, I just was like, I'm not qualified for this. But it was a real help for them when they needed to. They had something English written, but just sort of like making it flow as an English reader would read it, and that kind of thing. So it was actually challenging work, but it was an organization that when they asked me to do this, I loved what they were working for, and I loved this organization. So I really wanted to be able to contribute in any way I can. So at this session, I actually took all like the notes in English, and I was so tired of the typing, and that's not my thing. I'm not a very good typer. So, and I was asking anyone for help, and everyone was like, oh, I don't know. I don't really my English isn't that good. And I was like, yeah, but it is though. Your English is fantastic. So help me out. Anyway, it was really, really fun. And we were able to have a lot of representation again from all over the world. This was actually a picture of us at the Basilica in Mexico City, and it's the second most visited basilica in the world, and the first most visited not for tourism. And the day that we went for Mass there was actually the day of a pilgrimage. So on top of the millions that are usually there in Mexico City, there was even more at that time. So it was, you know, I haven't seen so many people in one place before. And we were even able to meet the Cardinal there, and that was very, very exciting. So what summer school, what it was called was IMCS's summer school, and the focus was on climate change and the weather events that happen because of climate change and how the poor are disproportionately affected from these events. And it was incredible to hear different perspectives of what do those climate crises look like in your area of the world. And, you know, being from Saskatchewan and hearing from Anna, who was from India, about the floods that went up to the fourth story of the condo building, I was just absolutely wowed. I even told my students this story, and they were like, like, how did the water get there? Like, how did the water get there though? And I was like, yeah, there was a major flood, you know, from the amount of rain. And they were like, yes, but why didn't the water just go somewhere else? And I was like, okay, well, the world looks a little bit different. It's not flat like in Saskatchewan, like in other places. So we need to, you know, change the way we're thinking about that. And they were just, it was very hard for them to wrap their heads around. But I appreciated that they tried. We were able to just have fun together, and one of the wonderful experiences we had was the reason Mexico was also picked was because the year before there was a massive, quite a year, but there was a massive earthquake that affected. It was right in Mexico City, and actually was the anniversary of an earthquake that had happened years before. And so unfortunately, on that day every year, they actually have a practice drill. And they had the practice drill that morning, and then the earthquake happened that afternoon. So when the earthquake drill started going off, they thought it was the same thing. So a lot of people actually didn't get into the safe positions that they needed to. And so unfortunately, more people were injured, and there was more fatalities because of this, of that confusion. We were staying in a community called Talpan, and we actually left the community and went to this area where they had 3 churches, and every single one of them, they were right next to each other, and all of them had some kind of, like, the roof fell in or the walls fell in or something like that. And they created a temporary church, temporary chapel for them to worship in. And it was huge. It was huge to, you know, to accommodate the huge numbers of the community. And so we were able to help out there. We did some painting of the new walls that they were putting up for the new permanent church. And there was also a summer camp going on here for the kids. And we just got to hang out with them. And for a lot of these kids, they were like, who are all these adults? But they all spoke Spanish. So I was just trying to stick with my friend Carla, who was from Chile, so that she could help me translate, you know, because I just love working with kids, and they're funny. And so I got to try to talk with some of these kids with the help of Carla translating. And there was also a talent show that we got to see, and these kids brought the house down with their skills. It was incredible. They got the mic and they were just like running across, and it was like a Beyonce show. It was amazing. These kids were fantastic. And so it was just really wonderful to get to see their experience of how that community was able to pull through and pull together. Sorry, there we go. So now I am, after all those experiences working with the IMCS, I was able to sort of think about how university is just such an incredible time where we are exposed to so much, where we get to go to conferences, and we get to participate in topics in university classes that we might not have thought of before. And it's just, there's so much that we are exposed to. And sometimes it is a lot, and there's so much that shape our experience. And through that time, we really are discerning about discerning about what does this mean, right? Okay, so I see these things and I get joy from them. What does that mean? And how does that translate to outside? We spend our time in church with our community and we pray with each other, but church needs to end and we need to go forward and share the word and share what we learned when we were working together. And I believe that is the same with our CCSA conference. We spend this time together, we learn together, we share with each other. But then it's the question of, when you leave this conference, what are you going to take with you? And how are you going to spread that love and spread that joy and that you were able to learn and you're able to have? I do want to mention though, these summer schools that I was able to attend, anybody can go to them. So I was able to go to Italy as a representative of Canada and North America from the CCSA, and that was a big part of that. But at these summer schools, it's actually open to any Catholic students anywhere in the world. All you have to do is apply, and there is so much funding available for this also if you're worried about finances being a barrier. When we went to Mexico City, there was probably about 30 or 40 of us, and some people were still like, oh, I thought there'd be more, because it is open to everybody. And I was the only person that actually signed up from Canada to go. I would love to see there being more people, more students from the CCSA, from Newman centers across Canada, being able to sign up for that and learn something in a different Catholic student community than that they had previously seen. That's what I want. I'm hoping that you will see how, oh my gosh, you get to meet all of these amazing people and learn from them and work with them and feel energized completely from the work that you talk about and the love that you share and the joy and the conversation. So I hope that you can just hear that and think, yes, I want that too. And it's amazing also, for me, I'm the kind of person who, I love chit chat. I love talking. Like, tell me anything, tell me, let's make a connection. Let's go to a party and I find out, hey, I worked with your uncle in small town Bicker. No way. And I love that. But if you don't love that, you can still find that connection with people, because the amount of diversity that is present at these IMCS gatherings is incredible. And so you can find people like you, and you can find someone who's just like you and they're from Nigeria, which is just beautiful. It's an incredible experience. I think of that because a friend I have, Richard, he was from Nigeria and he's currently in Paris working there also as what is this called? Igmika, which is the one after. I bet Kevin will talk a little bit about it maybe. But he was the one I felt, he reminded me most of home, and he was from Nigeria. And I thought that was very cool. He just reminded me of home. And I really appreciated his friendship. So I want us to think about that vocation. So your vocation in life is where your greatest joy meets the world's greatest need. So this was a quote from Fred Beechner. And we really do in university get to see all those different things. We learn so much, we see so much, we meet more people than we have. And even sometimes we get to travel, maybe you're traveling from your hometown to your university town, or maybe you're traveling nationally, internationally, and you get to see so much. And you have that opportunity to find your vocation with all these experiences. You get to see what gives you that joy. But also, where is that need? You hear about so much need that it can also be energizing and inspirational to think, this is where I'm being called. I love this, and I want my joy to meet that, my passion to meet that need. And your path changes. You might I started in being a commerce student, and now I'm a teacher, and those are very, very different paths. But I was able to find that where I should go by hearing God speak to me and hearing my community speak to me as well. There is just so many ways that God is speaking to us through our friends, through our colleagues, through our families, or through strangers who we have just met, or a community that we are trying to serve. And I really feel like that's what leadership is service, is hearing God speak to you and then acting accordingly. And so you really do need to take also this time after you experience all these things, see all these things for that discernment, and deciding, what's where I'm called. And for some people, it's not about, I need this to be my career, right? This is different. Sometimes people might say, excuse me, some people might want a career that's 9 to 5 so that they can go and have their great vocation, their great joy outside of work. It doesn't have to be your livelihood, but it could be. And I feel very blessed that it is, my vocation meets with teaching, and it is part of my career. So you have to move from the theoretical to the practical. When I was in university, one of the classes I enjoyed most was anti-oppressive education. And I felt like it just set my soul on fire with putting words to and putting theory to social justice and understanding what goes behind it, what affects it, and what does it really mean. And so I had this vision in my head that I would be going into the classroom and just be, sharing this social justice theory with my kids and thinking like, they need to know this. And I wish I would have had exposure to this theory and this language earlier, and they need to know this too. But when I got there, it changed again, because when I got there, I realized that, I don't know why I didn't realize this sooner, but yeah, kids aren't ready for 300 level theory. Like, they're not, 11-year-olds aren't going to get it. It doesn't matter what university course it is. If you try to lay it all on them, they're not going to receive it. And so I realized what those children needed. They needed love, and they needed support, and they needed just someone to listen to them. And then I found different ways that social justice fit into my teaching practice and worked into the curriculum, so that they could receive it, but not in the way that I had first imagined, that I had first thought. When I'm thinking about my vocation as a teacher, I'm really thinking about connecting with students on a personal level. And I'm thinking about being vulnerable and creating space for them. And I think that's very important as an adult. Like, that is your job, as the adult in the room. But I also realized that this even connects to my vocation that I had throughout being a student. It was the same. It changed, but the foundation was the same. I was always still building community through that heart speaks to heart. And it was listening. Listening is the key to heart speaks to heart. You can't share without knowing that you're listened to. And so that acting accordingly and serving accordingly to me means that you are listening and showing that you've listened with your actions. And that after someone has taken the time and taken their vulnerability and been vulnerable with you, you need to show them that you respect that, and you've created space for that. They can open up to you as much as you want. But if you don't receive it, if you don't create that space and create that change, if that's what they're asking for, it's not going to, they're not going to keep opening up to you. They're not going to feel listened to, and they won't feel that core loquitur. That's what happens in the classroom as a student leader, locally, nationally, internationally. It really is about that creating space and listening so that you can have the connection of heart speaks to heart. I am so excited for you all as conference members to be able to have this discernment and think about, where is that joy? Where's that connection? I believe that we really are created as those social beings who need community, and need someone to listen to them. We all need someone to listen to us. And sometimes when you need to be listened to, it's actually when you need to do the listening. And just thinking of St. Francis's prayer there, like, we need to step out from ourselves and go from that theoretical to the practical of we're learning about what gives us joy, and then we're actually doing it, moving from being a student to leaving at university and being able to practice our faith in a much more active way than just focusing on discernment and and just sitting there. No, it's acting, it's being, it's listening, it's serving, and showing that we are an active part of our communities by creating space and by speaking heart to heart. So that is what I want us to think about as your students, and then as you're moving into life after a student. I hope that you can this weekend just really look for those life-giving connections, and then continue to nourish them through social media, through connecting virtually, continue just nurturing those so that when we do get to meet face-to-face, we have so much more to connect about and so much more to give. So that is what my hope is for all of you. Thank you so much for taking this time, and I hope you're still with me and listening and I didn't bore you to tears, and I'm really excited to hear from you. Let me see. So that was about 33 minutes. I was counting. If we want to move into questions, that works for me. If there's any questions or any comments too, I'd love to hear comments as well. You couldn't be a teacher without, asking for a question and you get a comment. So I'm happy to hear them all. Ooh, how do we stop sharing your screen? You're sharing. Stop sharing. I lost my mouse. There we go. Perfect.
So the chat is open if you have a comment or a question for Ava, or if you'd like to raise your hand and speak it out.
I'm so happy to also be back and seeing some faces. I haven't seen Santo or Michelle or Mona Lise or Sister Sue's face in so long, so I miss you all.
I just wanted to say, watching your presentation really brought good memories, because I was there in PI with you and lots of other people, and I don't know, it just felt really good to see all these good memories and adventures and everything we did together. So thank you for your presentation, Ava.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I'm missing the people and thinking about how incredible it was that's where we were, and that was 2016, and now we're in 2020. And just, there's so much has changed, but I appreciate that, we're able to still connect here as well. It's wonderful.
Yes, thank you.
So did the games go well last night? I missed them, but I hope they went okay. When we were in PEI, actually, one of the games we did was dodgeball. We got to go to the UPEI gym, and half the people went to play dodgeball, and then half the people went to a haunted house. And I was like, no way, I'm going to go rip up the floor on dodgeball for sure. And it was crazy. There was some people that took it very, very seriously. Very seriously. Like, there was one guy got a nosebleed, but then kept playing, and then nobody really wanted to hit him, because it was like, well, you have a nosebleed, so we're not going to be trying to get you out. But then he'd keep throwing the ball and get other people out, and we were like, dude, just go clean up your nosebleed, man. Anyway. I think that's what you get when you get adults playing dodgeball, though. I think that's just how it goes.
Ava, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. It was great hearing about all the stories about where you've been and how your life has kind of changed with the CCSA. after taking that big leap, I think, to be on the executive board, I think pushed you to do a lot more things in life. And I think it's been awesome to hear. Just one question I had, because our AGM is coming up this afternoon and we will be holding elections and we will have a new executive board. In person, like you said, you kind of got, everybody was kind of around you and said, oh, you know, we think you'd be great for this position. Virtually, that's a little bit harder to do. So I'm just wondering if you have any like, if anybody's sitting around here listening to your speech, if anybody's thinking about maybe taking that step, but they aren't sure about it, what kind of advice would you give to anybody kind of on that teeter-totter, not knowing if to take that step or not?
That's a great question. What I actually would suggest, I think that part of that was that some people actually, we're in the conference boardroom and they came up to me and said, like, I think this is really good for you. And I think that that's actually, when I look from that perspective, like that's actually a little bit scary, right? Like, I think about like the social interaction of things, like them coming up to me actually would take some, take some strength when, we didn't know each other. Like I could have been like, no, like I don't even know you or something like this. But they were able to come and say that to me. And so I think that also you can also sort of tell based on the group, like who is interested. And if you think that you saw someone else interested in this, you should try to message them, or you should try to get their Snapchat, or, direct message them on Facebook or whatever, and take that virtual leap of walking across the room and saying, I think this would be really good for you. I think that's really where I heard it. And so I would really encourage you all to be that person for someone else and take that step virtually. And that's the situation we're in, and we just really have to deal with it. So, go up to someone virtually and say, like, I think this would be really good for you. And I know that will encourage them, and they'll be able to hear their community and hear God speaking to them through that. Now, even if someone doesn't come up to you, you hear God's voice, you hear the community. And sometimes actually we listen and we don't hear anything. We say, does anybody want to share? And nobody says they want to share. And actually in that moment, what you're hearing is a vacancy that you might be called to fill. When you don't hear anyone stepping up, that's actually could be a really good sign for you to step up. And that space has been created for you to jump in there. And I know for teaching, when you ask a question and it's silent, that's actually something that teachers struggle with constantly, with how long do we wait? How long do we let the kids sit in silence until we jump in and save them and give them an answer? So for this situation, if there's that silent vacancy, sometimes we do just need a little second. So I would say for the exec, if no one's stepping up, just give it a moment, because maybe there is someone in the crowd who's really taking time to think like, okay, is this the silence that I need to fill? And they're waiting to do that, and they need a couple extra seconds to really get the strength they need to jump in. So I would say be patient. But then everyone else, step in there, take that leap of faith. And absolutely, Adam. Like I don't know if I would have said no to Western Rep, then I wouldn't have been in the presidency role. I wouldn't have gone to IMCS, and my teaching would look very different. I might not have been able to get a job as a teacher as quickly as I did if I didn't have all of these kinds of experiences that I was able to bring to the classroom. And so that's also, I'm not saying just do everything so it looks good on your resume, but I think that is definitely a big part of how what we do here transfers out there. And the more experience you get with different communities, it will serve you when you are working. So for everyone, take that leap, take the little chance. And the other part is, I know that there's a lot of people out there who are like, I'm busy. And it's like, yes, I know you are busy. We are all quite busy, actually. And you get to choose what you want to make space for and what you want to make room for. I felt very busy at the time as well. But after saying yes to this, I realized this is really what I want to be busy with. This is the stuff that I do want to take up my time, not Netflix, not not parties or whatever. No, I want this to be what I'm putting my effort and my time into. And so if you're feeling like, oh no, I'm too busy, like, well, just decide, what do you want to spend your time on? Because it's different for everybody. And this might be the thing that you want to spend your time with. Thank you, Adam, for that question.
Hi, Ava. I'm Holly. I'm actually from Charlottetown, like PEI. So yeah, I liked your talk. I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to comment because I like to talk too. And I just wanted to say that your talk was really relatable. It was really good. I wish Sister Sue was here because you guys could talk, but she's not here. So yeah, it was just really nice to hear your experiences and what you've done, and then related to our lives, I guess, as students, because I'm graduating in May.
Ooh,
and
congratulations!
Moving on, and it's just hearing your talk was very inspirational, I guess, for me.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. Thank you. And congratulations on graduating.
Well, I hope to. We'll see.
I'm sure you will.
Hey, Ava, it's Sister Michelle. Thank you so much for the talk this morning. And I'm just kind of shaking my head going, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is Ava. I mean, I can, but I can't. So I have a question for you. And I'm just curious, given the experiences that you've had in the community that has supported you, both your family and, the university community, and what gives you hope as a young person in the church today? And you've had an experience of church in a very particular community. But as a young adult and somebody embarking on, your professional journey now, what gives you hope?
What a great question. Yes, I was thinking of probably the last time we saw each other in person more recently, but the first time was when I was in grade 11 and we went to the Religious Ed Congress conference in Anaheim. So that was a bit of a throwback. When I think about hope, and when I think about the community that has supported me, when I think of Catholic community as a whole, it's so big. It's so big as thinking about, Catholicism, Catholic faith. It's huge. And I feel really blessed that I was able to see sort of a version that is more relatable and where I could see myself fitting in it. With it being so big and, Catholic meaning here comes everybody. It's hard. Where am I in that? Especially as a woman, and especially as someone who I know I'm not called to religious life. I know that that's not what my vocation is. And so, as a, lay person, as a woman, it's like, okay, so where do I fit in? And I'm really happy that I was able to see myself in the community, but also see all of these other students and seeing these people who have confidence and faith and understanding of what Catholic community means to them. And that actually really helped me understand what it means to me, nationally and internationally. So what gives me hope is the people, is getting to see these people who are committed. With the IMCS, they always talk to us about we're amazed that you volunteers. And I was like, volunteers? I don't feel like a volunteer because, funding paid for me to be in Italy. It doesn't feel like a volunteer situation to me. But it is, you do give up that time. And when you look around, there's 60 people I'm with in Italy, and they all gave up 2 weeks to be here. There's the translators who they're translating for free. We have a lot of different languages represented, and they all donated that time. And so it's that hope of getting to see so many committed individuals who are there for their own reasons, but that the reasons that they brought them there really brought us all together. And then we have that community built on us coming together for some purposes that drive us, like maybe it is for community, maybe it is for charity, maybe it's for justice. And it's the people, getting to see so many people over and over again, coming to these conferences and spending this time here. And then just getting to hear like what gets them out of bed in the morning, and like, hey, me too. And like, or no, I didn't want to this morning, but here we are, it's Saturday and we all got up and for this conference. That's pretty good. So it's that commitment, it's the commitment, it's the confidence that people bring as students. Also, 20-year-olds, you don't have to do this, but you are here and you are doing this, and that's amazing. And you should feel like, yeah, you're doing amazing work. You're doing God's work being here. And I really felt that when I got to be with my communities as a student. It really did give me also like a more structured idea of what do I want Catholic communities to be like, and then I can bring that to the classroom. I can bring that after being a student, and I can show that to other people, and then it's like it's a cycle. It then brings other people in and shows them what that structure can look like, and and not like the whatever parts of, I know there's always parts that you won't like, but it really showed me all the parts I do like, and I really appreciated that. I do think though, we did sometimes talk about, what does it look like when the church is shrinking? And that part can be sort of like, what does that look like? But as young people, we are a lot more flexible and more inclined for change and ready for it. And there was some hard stuff, like, talking to a friend, and he says, you know what, I actually would really like to be a priest. I feel like I could be called to that, but I really want to have children. And that's what I feel like I'm called to do. And I could really see that was a hard part of him seeing with his vocation. And I really, I felt for that. And so I feel for that and think like, I don't know, like, does it look like change? Does it look like just finding what is your vocation in the community? But I think as young people, we are able to think about these things and ask the good questions. That was a bit of a ramble there, Sister Michelle, but I hope that there were some parts that got what you were looking for. Thank you for that question. I also so appreciate, I can see that some of you are reacting. So like that really helped me. So I can see you being like, or like, oh yeah. I'm like, okay, that's good. I like that. So thank you for those cameras on, and you're helping me out here. Oh, and from UPEI, you'll have to say hi to Sister Sue for me and let her know I'm thinking of her.
Hi, I just wanted to thank you for your talk. I'm a first-year student. This is kind of like my first time doing this sort of thing. So it was really interesting to see like you as a first-year student and everything that you've done since then. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you're here and partaking. I know sometimes it's really hard. And campus ministers, I hear about this, campus ministers being like, oh, first years, they don't want to get involved. They still are trying to figure things out. And it's like, that's tough and that's fair. And so I'm so happy you're here and just getting involved in the ways that you want to. And that's all we can ever do. So thank you for saying that. And thank you for being here.
We have a comment in the chat from Bishop Mark. Ava, thanks very much for a great presentation and your insightful sharing. Gratefully, Bishop Mark.
Wonderful.
Here we go.
It's like peekaboo. Hi, Bishop Mark.
Maybe, sometimes you're in your bathrobe and you just have your camera off. I don't want to call him out.
He's not in the bathrobe. Okay.
No, that's very good. He's up and dressed.
Perfect. Yeah, we all may or may not have sweatpants on, but no one's checking, so.
That's right. I feel like I should say something because I do have my camera on and I'm reacting a lot. Ava, thank you. I've really enjoyed listening. I feel like we have a lot of similarities in just the stories that you've been telling and the way that you connect with people. I love hearing your stories about your trips because it just feels like I was there. Like, your stories are so vivid, and the explanation of your interactions with other people. It's just been so good to hear all about your discernment journey and the transition from just being a university student to actively living that call that you heard when you were involved as a student. It's so relevant for us here today to hear of a success story from CCSA, just all of the fun times that you've had and going forth, and how that you still carry that and those lessons with you. I wrote down so many things that you were saying just because you're just so quotable just as you were talking. It's just the things about leadership is service, hearing God speak to you and then acting accordingly. And at this age, I think for everybody at all points of life, discernment is such a huge part of the journey. You're actively making decisions every day. And so it's really a good reminder to keep listening to God, and then not just listen, but act accordingly. And how sometimes when you need to be listened to is when you need to do the listening. I thought that was very profound. Thank you for saying that. So I want to thank you. I don't have any questions for you, but I just thank you sincerely for joining and giving us so many great takeaways this morning.
Thank you so much, Molly. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
So we tried yesterday to give a round of applause, and it didn't really work with the microphones. But I think the visual thing works. So if you want to put your camera on and lift your hands up, that's okay.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. And this was my first sort of conference presentation, and well, also first at virtual. And so I really thank you for your warmness and your just so welcoming. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.